All right, guys. I am welcoming Steven Stahlberg for Artist Spotlight interview. That's it.
Yeah. Hello. Yes, it's me.
What was that?
It's me. I'm over here in Malaysia. This is
Yeah,
Malaysia calling. Yeah. Kuala Lumpur calling.
that's pretty cool. What made you move there? I know you were moving. You were living somewhere else before that, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been moving all over the place. It, at, at a very young age, I was forced to move around by my parents as a
Mm.
little toddler. And I guess that may have uprooted me just enough so that it made it easier for me to move around later in life on my own accord. Um, I had one parent in Australia and one in America, sorry, Sweden. So I went back to Australia after growing up in Sweden. I was born in Australia, grew up in Sweden, went back to Australia, and kind of got stuck there a few years. And then, I'd already spent a year in America. And I guess by this time I was, like sufficiently confused geographically that I was, because I find that most people are kind of rooted to the
Yeah,
place where they grew up,
yeah.
and I wasn't that much. I was a little bit at 18 or 19 or 20. I was quite rooted to Sweden. I really missed Sweden when I was away from Sweden. But then in my 30s, I moved to Hong Kong. So, you see, it was easier for me to move to Hong Kong
Yeah,
because I'd already had some moving around
so
experience.
you've
So,
always moved around. You've essentially gotten used to that type of
yeah.
feeling, right? So it's
Yeah, and Malaysia. To answer your question, sorry, I went on a tangent, but I got to know a guy in Hong Kong who then moved to Malaysia, and I went back to America, and then we discussed and hey, join my company, come to Malaysia,
yeah.
and this is me. I visited, I liked it, and I've been here for I think it's pretty much 10 or 11 years now.
Oh, nice. So,
Yeah.
what happened with all that? That didn't work out, or the company?
America didn't work out because I came there like 2007, and you know what happened 2008, right? That was
Ah,
the big
yeah,
meltdown, and so a lot of people didn't lose their jobs that first year in the entertainment industry because it came later. I figured out it came like 2010. The wave sort of hit the entertainment industry because, of course, the first industry to be hit was the loans and the houses. But I was fired. I was one of the first ones to get laid off in
oh,
2008, and again in 2010, and again in 2000. I can't remember,
oh,
uh,
really? Jeez,
12 or 13. Yeah, so basically 5 times I was
Jesus,
laid off.
jeez. Was
I was popping around all the way up from Florida up to Georgia, Atlanta, up to Maryland. You know, Skyrim. No, not Sky. The cousins to Skyrim. Damn it, I can't remember. ZeniMax.
yeah. So
And then,
you're working for them at the time?
but yeah, at one point I was, yeah, and CCP in Atlanta, and then back down to Florida again to a place that Microsoft closed down like 6 months after I joined,
Oh, jeez.
because they had the power to do so and they didn't like the product that they were putting out. So
Yeah, jeez.
every time I thought I was safe. Like the last time they'd been going for like 10 years, I thought, okay, this is a solid company. I'm going to join these guys. I'm going to go back to Florida and join these guys. And six
Yeah,
months later, they closed down. So
jeez.
I got sick of America and I just left. I tossed my green card. uh,
No,
You know,
that's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
yeah, it
Yeah,
was. I was so happy to get it, but then yeah, it was a tragic time. I had to leave my motorbike behind.
uh,
They wouldn't take it back. The bank owned it, but they
yeah.
refused to take it back. So I just had to leave it in the parking lot.
Jeez, that's not that's
And
yeah.
yeah, I declared bankruptcy basically.
Oh
Chapter
wow.
7. Whatever they call it. And
So,
so that was about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and
do you
I've,
think
I've been.
are you doing better now? By the
Yeah,
sounds of
yeah,
it, you
yeah,
have to be.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Doing great,
yeah.
because you shed your debt and
Mm.
you feel like you're starting over. You feel like
Mm.
you're finally free.
Oh
And
yeah.
and there's things, living is cheaper in Malaysia. I was just telling another guy just here, like, to me, to my needs in life right now, everything is better here. Basically, the internet is better, cheaper, faster. I don't know, you name it. No daylight savings. No, I'm kidding. But it's cheaper. The quality of life is better here, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear it is better over there, and your dollar's going to go further because you're making in US dollars, aren't you? So,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was so
It's not that great for a U.S. citizen to do stuff like this because those poor guys, they have to pay tax twice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Isn't it for
that's
like
kind of.
almost 10 years that you need to pay that tax?
Oh yeah, maybe.
I think
Yeah,
I think I think at a certain point it cuts off. You kind of finally get rid of that
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of ball and chain type of thing.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's good at least. Yeah, yeah. It's tough.
Well, I know when I first found out about you, you were doing what, freelance work.
Yeah.
How come you just didn't stick with the freelance at the time?
Uh, it depends. I've been back and forth, back and forth.
Mm.
Like even when I was in school in the 80s, I was freelancing on the side,
Yeah.
uh, for local magazines, ad agencies, whatever. But it's at some point I went full freelance, and then you get tired of chasing clients. Basically,
Mm.
that's the main reason why. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm not freelance either. I'm working for a company in Hong Kong, which
Oh,
is
okay.
remote. I'm remotely working.
Yeah.
And this time, I think I found a good company that's not going to lay me off because I'm well. For one thing, I'm not. It's not a brick and mortar office where I have to go in every day. So
Mm.
even if I am laid off suddenly, it's because it's always sudden. It's always like,
Yeah.
oh, this morning I had a job, now I don't. But
Yeah.
but anyway.
Yeah. It's always they're not going to even hint on towards it. Really. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's less, how should I say, psychologically. I mean, you get PTSD from being
Oh.
laid off.
Yeah. Imagine. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you love the place, right? You've grown attached to, like, 2 or 3 or 4 years. You worked with these people, and
Mm.
you love them, and they love you, and then suddenly something forces them to kick you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like a breakup all of a sudden.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
No hint on. It's just out. It's like boom, done, and just,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a bad divorce or something, and so it takes a while to, but it's less painful if you're already working remotely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, what are you doing at the moment? Are you doing similar to what you're doing for your Patreon and on that, or is it just
And
completely different?
no, kind of. I mean, some of it involves the female figure, but it's a
Mm.
figure company. They make statues, and
Oh, okay.
so I'm like an art director, and I mainly focus on anatomy, like
Mm.
anatomically correctness. How shall I say? When it comes to realism, right?
Mm.
Right. I mean, a lot of them are extremely stylized. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, if you have uh, that yellow circle that eats things, what's that called?
Pac-Man.
Yeah, Pac-Man.
Yeah.
If you have, Pac-Man, there's not much there for me to
Yeah.
help out with. But if you have Ivy from Soul Calibur, or
Mm.
Faye from Cowboy Bebop,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah. So in that way, it is a bit similar sometimes.
Yeah. Do you find that say if you just had your Patreon that there's because I know I think you replied to one of my messages on Facebook about how there's kind of a market for that virtual female figure, or that virtual reality, that
Oh
virtual reality
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I remember the thing. This comes in waves. Like now it's Instagram.
Mm.
Now it's an Instagram personality that is made up. You make a 3D figure, and then you pretend. We were doing this like 1998, 1999.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
trying to launch one of these, but it wasn't. It wasn't my idea because I was always reticent. I was hesitant, like, I don't know if this is going to take off. But this other guy was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we did it. We tried, and it didn't work, of course.
Mm.
It's because back then, and this is what my comment to you referred to. Back then, it was extremely hard and time consuming to do. Now
Yeah.
it's very, very much easier, and the result is more realistic. And I mean, you can buy animation, or you can do mocap in your own home. Like back then, you had to pay tens of thousands of dollars to do mocap to go. We flew to Atlanta, I remember, to an outfit that, like, one of the few outfits that were doing motion capture, and the results looked horrible because everything was so difficult. I don't think we even had polygons. I think we were using NURBS or something like that. I
Yeah.
can't remember. It's like 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been really hard, wouldn't it? I mean,
Not 30, but
no, like
quite a long time ago.
20 years ago. So it
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
feels like 30. It's probably close to
yeah.
30. So,
But yeah,
mm,
like 22 or yeah. Anyway, it's so today, like, one person can do it, but
mm,
then again, you get this other thing. Well, okay, lots of people are going to do it.
yeah.
That's so you won't be alone. It's that fallacy that they do in sci-fi movies, where there's one inventor who invented one thing, the
Mm,
MacGuffin, and everybody wants the MacGuffin because nobody else can do it but him. But
yeah.
that's the fallacy, because as soon as the technology becomes available, everybody's doing it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Pretty much. And look, it's like, how do you stand out? That's the
yeah,
problem with it,
exactly.
right? So, standing out, because I like I've seen that on the Instagram. The digital doubles, pretty much. Um, digital people. That's what
Yeah,
you set out to do all those years ago, right? And they're doing
yeah,
it. The thing is, they're doing it now. It kind of, I don't know. Are you thinking? That's what I asked. I was like, maybe it is actually, when you've done something too soon, and maybe
yeah,
it's like your time to do it now. You could maybe do it, maybe, because you do
yeah.
have. I think what maybe you underestimate is the following that you have behind you. I think you underestimate. I think you really do. It's kind of like that you're too modest for your own good. Where kind of, I think if you did try and you go, I'm going to make a digital double, or one in your style, and I'm going to just start posting it, right, and see how it goes on Instagram. I think you might be surprised. I think you might. I reckon you should give it a go. You should give just doing like one 3D check and just try it out, see how you go. Because I think maybe now is the time to do it. It feels like maybe now is the time to do it, because you could get endorsements through that, and you could do all kinds of
Well,
things.
I mean, I would love to help somebody out with it, but I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to do it all myself now, because it for a few years I kind of lost touch with Maya completely, and then I got back into Maya a little bit,
Mm,
but I'm not mainly a 3D guy now.
yeah.
I'm
You,
it
mm.
the rigging part, for instance. I don't think I would. I could probably rig something, but I would not sell my services as a rigger, because I don't feel confident.
Well,
You know,
I don't think you'd have
industry
to.
has changed. The
Yeah.
technology has changed so much. So
But I don't think you'd have to, because you just need to like render a still image, really. And I think you know how to render a still image. You've done them before,
yeah,
and you know how to
yeah,
sculpt a character and texture it. And I think you could do it. I might look. I might be willing to do it, because I looked at that stuff and I'm like, well, that might be a market there. And because what I was thinking is that, because what you can do is you can because I wanted to do clothing design and things like that. And
yeah,
so if you can, because that's what the difference of, you can make the clothing design. You've got Marvelous Designer, right? You can make it
yeah,
and design all this clothing. And the thing is, there's no, like, you don't have to physically go out and make it, right? And so
yeah.
the overhead isn't there. And so I think, I think it's there to try. I really do think it's there to try. It might be because when Final Fantasy came out, that Final Fantasy movie,
Yeah, like way back, or the
yeah,
remake that.
the Spirits Within,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and they had
yeah,
the Maximum, the first 3D woman in a Maximum magazine. Not sure if
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
I think
remember that. Yeah, they had the bathing suit option, and then they had the leather
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
because it could be. I don't know. Like I know with you, you do have that. Because I don't think you know how people go for like the uncanny valley and they just do full realistic.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, say if you had a stylized realistic character, maybe it would work. Maybe because I don't know if we're kind of heading in that area of people. Maybe we have like an oversaturation of like completely fake. Maybe we'll just end up going in towards this like digital human um, type of area where we just kind of completely fall into fantasy for some things and then other things not. I don't know. We're kind of heading into a weird. It's like a weird like build up. It's like you see Kim Kardashian and it's all just fake and everything's Photoshop, right? Everything's
Oh
already
yeah,
Photoshop. Hey,
the real girls are starting to look Photoshop even before you Photoshop them,
yeah,
and because they apply extreme heavy makeup with airbrush,
and yeah,
and then they've learned how to apply the lights themselves. All these Instagram personalities, they're creating images of themselves that are incredibly professional,
mm,
and so yeah, they hardly even need to Photoshop them anymore.
yeah,
Or they have this app on the phone that just Photoshops them in a
yeah,
single instant.
yeah,
Bing,
eh, yeah.
done. Yeah,
Well,
it's funny, but
well,
yeah, I think you're
yeah.
right. A bit of stylization, you know, like how shall I say, like remember how they drew Pocahontas? I mean, it's not a great movie, but
Mm,
how they drew Pocahontas in Disney's version, right?
yeah.
Her face is very stylized.
Mm,
There's no real person that looks like that,
no.
but if you it's kind of like you said, a step down from the uncanny valley. You
Mm,
avoid the uncanny valley by just stylizing it just enough to make it, or an anime face, you know. And anime is stylizing in a different direction, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to try different, you'll have to try different stylizations, but yeah, I'm sure you'll find one that, for instance, South Korean artists are stylizing in a slightly different way than Japanese artists, you know. So there's many different stylizations that you could choose between
Yeah,
and try.
yeah. And I think
But I think showing pores, you know, is the wrong way to go. Like pores and little peach fuzz, you know, that's sure, that's technical achievement, and it's realistic and nice, but I don't think it's really needed,
mm,
you know. It's
well,
really important.
well, the thing is, um, you could do that on the type of your like character design, right? And have real, you know how Pixar does. If you ever watch like Toy Story or something like that, and they have like they have realistic grass, but it's not realistic grass. Does that make sense to you? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a certain level of stylization there. Yeah,
yeah. So I think because you know how you have that like it's almost like a feeling of it's not like you're looking at this world and it's perfect, but it's just a feeling of imagination, and you can kind of like embrace it type of thing, and it's not like too disproportionate to what we have. It's like it's almost like a fantasy world, and that's like that Pocahontas type of thing, and
yeah,
it's not it's not necessarily perfected either. Like you're
yeah,
not like you could say that your female characters look more natural than women today who have done all this crap to them, right? Which is
yeah.
weird, really. It is because like they've got these pumped up boobs, pumped up ass. I mean, lots of makeup,
Yeah.
and the argument, like the argument there is that your characters look more natural than what we see today, which is a really weirdness happening because it's the thing is like yours is natural within that world, but this is people. It's like we're changing the appearance of what we have in our world, and it doesn't match up, right? And it's like which one's better? You know, I mean, it's. I know
Yeah.
they're both not real, but it's like there's one that is somewhat more ideal as well in the sense of not having too much, right? When it's
Mm,
like that,
yeah.
um, it's kind of like if you have a lot of caffeine, right? You need more caffeine to get that same hit. And I think when people look in the mirror, they do similar. Because I've done past. I did a lot of bodybuilding, right? And it get really big, and then like your big is not already like you can't get big enough, right? And it's like you're the way your brain seems to work is that you're kind of like going, I need more of this fix, and I need to pump up more of it, and that's what I think people are doing.
It changes what's normal. What is normalized changes in your brain continuously, and especially if you're bombarded with a different type of normal, then slowly your notion of normal will shift, sideways. It's interesting, but I guess it changes slowly back if you stop bombarding it. But I don't know. It's people's tastes have shifted over the last like 10 or 20 years due to, I mean, social media, is changing people's tastes and likes, I guess. One thing this is just consciously known by me, but I mean, of course, we all have our subconscious normalized taste that we don't know about. But this is just one thing I noticed consciously. I never knew there were so many women with severe hourglass shape before Instagram. I hope they're not retouching all these images.
I don't think. Well,
they can't be because they're moving, right? Some of these are
I think you can actually modify them moving now. I think you can.
Well, I hope not, but I mean, it's. I think it gives hope to people who have who previously might have felt that you were overweight or I'm not normal. I don't fit the normal, But because advertising and fashion seeks out very skinny people, that's just clothes just look better hanging off a thin person, be he male or female, it doesn't matter. But so that's just understandable. But so I never knew that before Instagram, and Twitter and.
Well, I mean, I've seen some footage. I've watched some footage before when I've like seen a video of somebody, and I was like, I swear, when they were moving in the video, that the video footage was like changing as if Photoshop is being applied to it. So I do think you can do that now. I do think you have things to do that. So I think I think we live in a very the world is more in an illusion than you've ever thought. So
may you live in interesting times. It's supposed to be an old curse. I don't know if that's an urban legend, but that's interesting can be taken as good or bad.
I guess it's you have to you kind of look from the outside, right? Without
but it's not at least it's not boring, so
I think it's just getting worse.
I mean, I didn't want to say that because I'm older. I'm like 60, and an old guy who says things were better before, that's just a cliche.
Maybe it was. I think it was. So I think at some point it probably
sometimes
was.
I think it was. Sometimes some things,
Well, it's kind of like I think as a whole society we tend to. It's like now with the virus, right? We kind of reflect everyone's emotions, even if you're isolated and alone. You kind of feel a little bit low for whatever reason, because the whole world is a bit low. And I think it's kind of like it's like that connection without being like obviously connected to anyone. Like you're not talking to them, right? You're not interacting with that person. But I think as a whole society, we probably have this like connection without knowing it. And I think
it's especially bad for extroverts, which I'm not that much, but my wife is extrovert, and she's suffering from this. Malaysia, by the way, some countries are not in lockdown, but Malaysia is one of those that is in lockdown. So, and for this reason, we're doing okay with disease wise, but
Mm.
emotionally, I think a lot of people are suffering.
Yeah, yeah, it is pretty bad at the moment, but yeah, I've
How are you doing? Are you extrovert or introvert? How's it?
I'm a little bit of both. I have introvert and
No.
extrovert. I think when I get really focused on work, I tend to get really introverted in a weird way. But then um,
Mm.
I've I don't know. I'm supposedly a Gemini. I don't know if that's anything to believe in, but supposedly I'm two faced in that way where I flip. So it could be. I feel like I'm a up and down person. I'm pretty
Mm.
high and low. So it's probably that thing of like I'll go out and be really extroverted and then I'll be just exhausted. I could do it, but
Exactly, but I mean
mm,
that's a lot of introverts work like that. We're not permanent loners. We do want human company.
mm,
That's just that we can go a bit longer without it, and then whenever we go to, like, I don't know, like, I'll take an example, like a rock concert or a party or whatever. Just go down to the to a bar or a cafe, it's like we have batteries, and the
mm,
batteries discharge. We use the energy that we have, and then when we run out, we run out, and then
yeah,
we appreciate having some alone time again.
yeah. It is weird. I mean, I've been trying to like quit a lot of things. I think I did a post about quitting porn and things like that, and
Mm.
it's because porn would affect your sociability. So it's like resetting my brain on how introverted and extroverted I am. It's
Mm.
because my brain's not running on this like an external dopamine feed anymore. So so then when I do have a chat with somebody, I really like have a chat, like I'm more present, and it's really weird. Because I often wonder that if we actually shape our personalities just from like the work we do, and so since lately I've been working a lot, so I feel more introverted, right, more than ever. And
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, yeah,
I
it
think I
has an
want.
effect.
See, I often wonder like did, if you weren't to sit at home all day on the computer, would you be, and you had to like do something else that would make you extroverted? Would that change you to be an extroverted person? I often wonder how adaptable. And I guess as you get older, you get more like you get set in your ways, and it's also like depending on how open your mindset is. You know how you get like stubborn. I don't want to do that, or you're like, no. It's like if you just kind of like let go, because everything that you do, like you at one point, okay, so say if you draw a lot now, right, and you saying that you doing 3D and going back and do 3D would be more difficult because you've sat there and you've drawn and you got really good at drawing versus your 3D stuff. So it's like you've expressed that side of you. I often think that's similar to our personalities, and we have that since we're little, and so like it takes work to be uh, out there and talkative. And I think once you start doing it, your neurochemicals in your brain start to adapt, and then you start to go, okay, I actually need to go out and talk and do those things. Because I think people who are extroverted, they like they get that dopamine feed from it, because that's how we interact with each other. We're kind of like these dopamine absorbing things. We're like, we need that kind of contact with each other. And I think an
Yeah.
introverted person ends up like doing personal work, and then you get that kind of that dopamine feedback from doing work and achieving things. And then other people get that more of that dopamine feedback from like going out and talking to people, and when they don't do
Yeah,
it, they
yeah.
go a bit crazy.
Yeah,
So
I definitely get a kick from doing what I'm doing, and
mm,
it's kind of addictive. Like, I don't know, like people who build I don't know, spaceships out of bottle caps, or Eiffel Tower out of matchsticks, or it's just this. I think all humans have this need to create things and make things, and then be able to step back and look what I did.
yeah,
Ta-da! I did something.
yeah,
Whatever it is. For some people it's cooking. For some people it's gardening. For some people it's, I don't know,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
nothing at all. Some people, but
Hey,
but
look,
most people have
some people
most
drink.
people
So
have. Yeah, yeah, or collect stuff.
yeah,
Collecting it is a great human pastime as well.
mm,
But yes, we are a very social species, and yeah, I do need both. Occasionally I want to come up for air and
Yeah.
have a talk with another human being.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know how that feels. But yeah, I wanted to ask, did you want to like share any of your like work on the screen or?
Yeah, yeah, sure. There's a green button here that says share. Shall I just press it? I haven't used Zoom before.
I was just before I was showing some of your work in your portfolio there.
Oh, okay.
Just so there's
Or
something.
Do you want to share your screen first, or?
I have been. I've been doing my screen, so I'm recording my screen, and now I've turned it back onto Zoom. So it will. If you share your screen, you can like share your Photoshop, any like 3D stuff. That would be cool to have a look at.
Yeah,
that stuff.
I'll just say main screen. Screen 2. Okay, screen 2. Press share. So you can see this is my Photoshop, right?
Yep, I can see that.
I'll just minimize Photoshop. This is Maya. I opened this one as you asked me to do beforehand, and this is just. I will show you. Now I got lots of tabs open here. I'm looking for a tab. Where's the tab? I opened my comic just to show you what I did with this one. I took this image and.
I'm still working on that bike, by the way. I put it on hold for now. I'm going to just work on it off and on. But yeah, you never know. We could do we could do a collaborative thing and try and open up an Instagram thing and maybe
yeah.
Because I think with those things it is difficult. Maybe it is time to do that now more than ever, and it's a difficult thing to do. I think to like if it had a merit, would you get back into doing 3D stuff? Say if it had merit and a lot of people liked it, would you start doing it again?
Yes. I would love to be maybe slightly disconnected from the actual grunt work of because I remember it being extremely painful. Like I was doing it back then because I don't know if I was high on dopamine from being in love with 3D. Now I have the branched out into other art forms. I feel like I could be of good use as an art director in that sense, or just sort of what do you call it? When a company brings in an advisor from outside,
Yeah, I do know what you mean by it being. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, I think because doing 2D, it's just like you have to just work in one application, right? Doing 3D, you have to be like, well, I have to learn 4 to 5 applications, and I have to be extremely good with all these different things like texturing, rendering, and all this other stuff. So
yeah, exactly. And rendering especially is so frustrating. Like the micro pore thing. That's why I mentioned that earlier, because those pores, like everybody has good pores now, and I don't. I would have to do R&D. I would have to do a shitload of R&D.
Well,
I like the Arnold renderer.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a better renderer out there. Maybe Octane is better. I don't know.
I think Arnold is probably the best for skin. But I think what's his name? Anatropos. He has a really good.
Anatropos. Yeah, Brazilian guy.
Yeah, like he's been leading that stuff, and I think I've seen a lot of people produce pretty good work from him from just doing his workshop. So
this is just the I've seen his stuff too. That it was just to show what I did with this image, but of course this is 3D, so I should be able to rotate it.
So that's the one you redone, isn't it? From a while ago. Yeah, I remember seeing that one years ago.
The main difference is back in the hinge part. This thing here is just for the lighting. That was to
the sky dome.
Yeah, but these 2 blocks were just there to create a shadowing component around the area light, which is
okay. Like a headlight or a spotlight, I mean.
Yeah, and the environment is filled with a bit of fog, so it made kind of a nice dramatic look to it. But this hinge here is what I've been.
That's interesting.
I don't know if I'm proud of it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't even know if it's going to work in real life. But
Yeah.
what I'm envisioning is a kind of a hinge that flips. Like
Yeah.
this
Oh,
part functions like a hinge when it's pushed on this side, but then this pulls back and locks in. So this part works like a hinge when these hydraulics on this side are pushing. So
yeah.
I'm not sure if you call it, it's kind of a rocking motion, if you will,
So
like pivot here, pivot there, you know.
is it meant to? Are you meant to be able to? I don't think you can steer it. Is it? Is it
I think,
steering?
yeah, a little bit. Like you would lean the whole thing.
Yeah.
I guess there's like a gyroscope somewhere in here that would lean it over to the side, but you'd also need to sort of direct this part. Would have to move a little bit, just a few degrees. I think would be enough to be able to, like, just over here. I haven't tried it. I haven't tried moving it yet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how I would rig it. I would just have to go in and move stuff manually bit by bit.
Yeah.
Just to be able to.
Yeah. I need to send you what I've done for the bike so far. I haven't sent it to you, have I?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
I'll have to send that to you 'cause it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I've
cool.
done more of a. I'm trying to figure it out like a real bike would be figured out. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm sure you will have a much nicer mechanics than I do, because you are it's so realistic. I don't know. It's just amazing detail, but at the same time, I mean, detail. Like I said, anybody could add detail by just adding more matchsticks to their Eiffel Tower, you know,
Yeah.
text or whatever. But your details are. They're not completely everywhere. They're realistically spaced so that you have them where you feel like they would do the most
Yeah.
good. And
Yeah. Well, I think that's what I think people go crazy with that. People just like, I'm going to add this detail everywhere. It's just, I think it is cheap. I look at it as cheap, and I guess with my designs, I don't want to be cheap, so I want the quality to be there. It's like like a cheap Chinese knockoff versus an American made product, and that's how I just look at it. So
and they all look different. Like they don't look like you're rubber stamping them, pom 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 pom. You know, like some people.
Yeah,
it's all you put thought into every part of it, and it shows. It's really,
and it
really
yeah, that's how you get that that realistic feel for things. But yeah. So what is this you're working on?
This is just a music video that I'm doing just for fun, kind of. You probably can't hear the noise, right?
I can hear a little bit.
Oh, so it is actually transmitting, because it's.
I think I heard something.
It's a piece of music that I just grabbed from the internet, and it's in Swedish.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure if I can hear it now. But
it's about Rio de Janeiro, as you can see here.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying some things, like some basic animation like this.
Okay, and you're kind of drawing on top. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an old Disney movie, in a weird way. Oh, well, not a Disney movie. I can't remember.
Yeah. And it's I mean, one thing is that I just like the song, but also I've been meaning to try to. Let's see. We have, I'm doing some of this stuff. I'm just moving the images like that, but I'm also doing the some walk cycles.
Okay, that's really cool. And you're gonna color those as well? Those are just placeholders for now.
No, I don't think I'll have. I don't think I'll have the patience to color all these.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of these, and I think they work. Because the tone of the, I mean, it's about a hooker walking. It's about a young hooker, a poor person in Rio de Janeiro who lives high up in the mountain, in the slum. So the tone is a little bit stark. So I can make the drawing look stark too. I think. And we have just a few more, but it's not finished yet, so I don't really have it.
That's really odd. Is this for Patreon members or just something you're?
Oh, I'm sure I'll show it to them. I will show it to them first. I'll show like there's one coming up now in the next month.
Yeah,
month starting in 5 days or so.
Is your Patreon going and growing growing well at the moment, or is it?
No, not really. I mean, it's 3 new people this month. It's okay. It's not exploding. It's never been exploding. It it took off in the beginning. A few months, it went up to about 100, and now it's like 5 years later, it's 118, or 120 or whatever.
I think it's maybe it's a momentum thing. You know how you start hard out the gate, and you kind of like you know how you stagnate with it.
Yeah, but there's been years where it started dropping. So I think it's all you're only as good as your last painting. Basically, that you have to do a good one, otherwise they're going to start leaving.
Well, I think you could.
Which is cool. I don't mind. This is actually something that is forcing me to work on stuff that I like working on anyway, and it makes me better. I wasn't sure at first. I checked back. Like recently, I started checking back. Like after 4 or 5 years, I started checking back to the beginning, and it has made me better. Quantifiably, measurably better. Not much, but just enough to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And so that's good. And what else would I be doing with my time if I wasn't doing this? I make a little extra money. That's good. And it makes me feel like I've accomplished something each month when I deliver my stuff each month.
Have you ever thought about doing prints and things like that?
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be ever taking off. And I think the reason for that is the companies who are doing the prints, they are making the money. The artists aren't. I have joined so many sites for this. I can't count them. 5, 10. It could be more than 10 sites over the years.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I sell something on Gumroad. Gumroad is not too bad. The best place is ArtStation, but not for prints. I take the videos that I make for Patreon, and then after a month or 2, I sell them on ArtStation and on Cube. What's it called? CubeBrush.
Yeah.
Those two are the good ones.
It's kind of like the same thing though. Like they take the profit as well.
Yeah, but prints don't work because prints people. I don't know what the difference is. I think the difference is that there's like 10 million artists selling prints, but so far on ArtStation, there is not that many selling videos. So maybe a few hundred. I don't know.
I think if you offered, you know what you do, so what happens is, you know how you make something more limited? And I think that's what we have in this day and age. Things aren't limited, right? Like, it's kind of like, well, if you made, you say you're going to make 100 prints or 500 prints, I think it would create that, because I'm not sure if you've listened to like Tim, what was his name? Tim Ferriss, that if you specialize in something, like it was talking about how some company makes a pair of jeans and they do that once a year, but they sell it for so much, just a pair of jeans, and they specialize in that. And I think that's what happens. I think a lot of artists, you kind of feel like, well, you got to do all this work. But I think if you specialize in something and you make it like uno numero, like number one, like amazing, like super, super, super good, and you go, you're going to have a limited run of it, and then you sell that, and you sell it for, an X amount of dollars, so you can actually make like because I think when everything is like just pumped out and for cheap, people, you get undervalued. Like the value is kind of like, you have to put the value in it and make it like really, really good.
That's true. That I guess it's more true in the real world, because when you're working with digital copies, people will pirate it, and so it even if you have a print, a print is. I mean,
you could do it on that really nice what is the ink satin thing.
Yeah, but they can still grab the low res, and then they can up res it and.
No, I think what you do is you do a video of you holding it. I think it'll make it way more difficult. I think there's so many ways to get around that stuff. It's kind of like I think we kind of, as artists, we shoot ourselves in the foot by kind of releasing a really good, you know, poster or something like that, and you're like, okay, now everyone has it, and so the value is gone, right? When everyone has something, the value goes away. It's like if you had a kilo of gold sitting at home as your doorstop, and I had one, and everyone else had one, it wouldn't be worth anything. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So I think
the Russians control the gold market. No, wait, that's the diamond. Oh well, maybe both.
I think everyone's buying gold at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Now, is there? Do you reckon? I mean, this image has a better chest. You know, basically, is that okay for your viewers?
Yeah, that's fine. Just show whatever nudity, doesn't matter. Who cares?
Well, is this just an example? This is the latest Patreon that I'm working on, and everything is already recorded. But I'm probably not. Well, I might record this bit here. I'm gonna do a change to this thing, because I have. If you see there, if you see this layer has been. I've collected a few things, because otherwise these things are separate. So what I like to do is I like to work like the old Disney camera that they made Snow White on. You know,
like layers,
like physical layers. I like to look at these as pieces of glass that are just covering
so turn them. Can you turn them on? Just like show each one adding. So you turn them all off, and then that'll be interesting to see.
This one was that because I'm going to edit this right now. But that's why I collected them into one layer there. But this one is just the rifle and some straps.
Yeah.
This is just the body without the straps. This is back stuff, I call it. It's just the stuff behind her, you know.
Yeah.
And we have the splash, which is just a more detailed layer, which needed to be. That didn't need to be separate from the background, but the background is just. I like to keep the messy, the big brush stuff in the background, and just do the smaller things in. So I have two snakes also. I blurred that snake, so I just copied the first snake and just blurred it, because I was going to make a highly detailed snake, but then I thought, what the fuck, I don't know. You know, that's just stupid, because the snake is not it's not the focus of the,
and it would probably be out of focus.
Yeah, it would probably. I mean, it just makes it look more realistic. So I just took a shortcut, but it looks cool. Yeah. And the branch is separate, because painting leaves is tricky, and it just takes a little bit more work. So I like to keep it on its own separate layer. But the thing that I'm going to do is just this. I feel like her whole top half is maybe a bit too small. So this is I'm just making it. And her back is maybe a bit too long, so I'm just exaggerating it.
Yeah.
But if I do it,
so you're saying her top half is too small?
Yeah.
I get what you mean. So.
Yeah.
It's just slightly,
before, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure. I mean, some people would leave it like this because it's a stylization. You know, it could be seen as stylization. But I want to. I'm gonna try this. That's why I copied her on her own layer. I don't.
It's literally like 4%, like 4 or 5%. But that's
So now I can just jump. Back and forth.
I think that's better, because it actually brings a bit more attention to as well. I mean, when you're looking at it, it kind of frames it in your sight a bit more, because of the face. A little. If it feels.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. And I'm going to add some wet skin. This is something maybe useful to some people. I don't know. I use Facebook as a testing ground, and I also use DeviantArt as a testing ground. I can show you. I just posted it on DeviantArt.
Yeah.
And there's I think it's just this one guy who keeps giving me these wonderful
like props.
Feedback. Well, I mean, he goes through it and he mentions a few things that he would like to change on it. So that's good. And so I'm going to try to add some wet skin, even though the reference I used didn't have wet skin. She was basically wading the same way through water. I mean, you can tell, right, that I used reference. I don't know if you can tell, but
I'm not sure, because I'm so used to just seeing your work without considering reference, I guess.
I use reference for the snake and
Yeah.
reference for the water and
Well,
for the
everyone does. All the best artists use reference, I imagine. So it's you're
and the
never
weapon,
above
of
it.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a different one for the face as well.
Are
So
you is it all? Is it no photo manipulation? Are you actually painting it all, or
yeah, I'm painting it all.
yeah,
I'm that's what you can see in the video.
you paint it all? It's not like you're grabbing the gun and
Yeah,
tweaking it. You know how people do that.
yeah.
It
I'll just open Camtasia here real quick. Yeah, I haven't rendered it out yet, but I can go to. I have all the process captured, and I'll just go to the first frame.
it would be cool to see water like dripping from the gun and things like that, and I think
Yeah,
it
that's a
would
good
be cool.
idea.
Yeah, because the
So this
action of
this
it.
is yeah. Yeah, I'll put that on another layer too, just in case I don't like it. But
You should really
this
use OBS. I hate Camtasia, and you'll see why.
okay. Well,
Camtasia is like it's really clunky and slow.
see that this is a different face I had in the
Okay.
beginning. And then I added the snake, and then I added the new face, yeah, there's some light rays in there, etc. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty used to this. So what in OBS would be
would be better. It's just it just performs better. It takes a little bit to learn it, but I really didn't want to move from Camtasia, but like it's way better. Like if there's no problem with Camtasia, if it's not laggy or problematic, I would just stay with it. But making videos, it will compile videos much faster if you use QuickTime with it. Also, I'm not sure if that's the same for Camtasia, but QuickTime is it's a fast format, fast encoding. So you encode your videos. Sometimes you can just wait for hours on it in video to encode. So,
but this one is cool. I never tried OBS, but the DaVinci Resolve is also free, and so.
Oh no, not OBS. Yeah, I was talking about DaVinci. I've got it all mixed up. I'm looking at OBS as a recording. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you're using. How come you're using Camtasia for the other one and not for this one?
It's for safety. I'm just I'm scared stiff to lose functionality. Before I got DaVinci, I just recently got DaVinci. So before I got it, I was just really scared to lose the functionality of Camtasia, because that would mean that I have promised to deliver something at the end of the month, and that would be like, oh shit.
Yeah, you're transitioning. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
you have to move.
And I hate to disappoint people, because I'm just like, sorry guys.
I
hate that feeling. But anyway. Yeah.
Do you have any other images? It'd be cool to see some other drawings of yours.
Yeah, I don't know which. This is the directory where I'm working on that music video. You can see scene 1, scene 2, scene 3. But you've seen these already. I can go to bonus. These are images for Patreon projects that maybe happen or maybe not happen. But the ones that are actually, these are the pinups, and we've had 76 so far. So. That's the last one right there. What did I do here? Dragon Downwards. This one was kind of fun. You can see the references here that I used, and this is the. I can make them bigger. So I'll open this one in a minute, but the references are here. And also the preliminary sketches here, that's a little bit different from the final. But, in thumbnail version, you don't see it. It's not that different. Just a work in progress.
How long do you end up spending on your drawings usually?
It's a month for the whole project. But I start a sketch. I like to have a sketch ready for a future month. So I kind of do them in batches. Like I work on 2 or 3 sketches at the same time. It's difficult to say how long I spend on a sketch, because I don't put it in the pipeline to be produced until I'm happy with the sketch. So some of them I just move to another month. I just move it, and this one isn't ready yet. So I just keep working. Yeah, it's probably quite a long time I work on the sketch too, but and understandably,
No, that's
I
really cool.
cannot, I can't record that process because, like I said, it could take months to prepare a sketch.
It's quite
I have to
tricky.
have it. Yeah, so I have to have the sketch ready before I start the recording of each month's Patreon.
Yeah, I think you definitely could do these as specialized prints. I think you should. I think you should do some masterworks. I think you really
They're not
should.
s- they're not super high res. Well, I mean this one is low res, but
Yeah,
but I,
I think people would buy your work. I think you're underestimating yourself. I really think if you did some master like pieces, like every artist should do masterpieces. That's what I always think, and that's how an artist should be making their money because they become like gold to people. And I think it is possible once people, start to follow you and want your work, and that's what you do see. Look, you see the worst work getting sold for so much money, and I think it's one of those things when you're only as valued as much as you think you are valued. And I think when you start doing like really masterful work and going, I'm gonna make this really something that people will want. You put that work in because you could probably work on one painting for like 2 months, couldn't you?
I
And
have,
yeah,
yes, I could. But I mean, there's so much competition. Look how nice these are. Like
yeah, but
this one,
but
amazing stuff
you
that
had to
people
flick
make.
through a few of them. Like
But I mean, no. I mean, they all have something to
you can do.
to recommend them.
I think you're pretty on par with a lot of people. I think you
And this is
undersell
just one
yourself.
page, and I'm sure we can. I don't know why it's stopping, and normally it would just keep loading.
But I think what you've done, I do it all the time. Like I look at other people and then I rate myself based on other people, right? And then you kind
Yeah,
of like, oh, I can't compete. But when you first start painting a painting and how shit it is, or you start doing a 3D design and how shit it is, I think
yeah. Sometimes you feel like, yeah,
you're starting all
yeah,
over again. Like
that's another good advice for people who feel that way.
yeah,
I mean, I'm old now. I'm old and experienced. I've learned to ignore that feeling.
yeah.
And my advice is, and yours is too. I hear, keep going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep going. You got to push through. Yeah,
Well, I think that's what you like. I think what you're doing, it's like you psychologically psych yourself out. That's what it sounds like you're doing, because you're like, look at all these people, look how good they are, and I'm like, it doesn't matter because we all start off shit, and I think when you
yeah,
because it's like the
yeah,
same. It's kind of like look, I looked at when I was growing up, I looked at your stuff and I was like, yeah, I could never do that stuff, right? But then you can do that stuff because you just become more experienced at doing those things, and you get better at it. And I think what like for a fact if you spent 1 month on a piece of work and then if you spent 2 months on something, it exponentially becomes even better, right?
yeah,
I think
yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
with art with artwork, it's like the what's that really famous statue? What is it? Michelangelo da Vinci, or like those the Roman statues, right? They spent years working on a statue, right? And you could say, well,
Yeah.
you need to get that statue done in 3 months, and it's just not possible, right? So, like
No,
for them
the
back then,
marble, yeah, working with marble is especially. I mean, it's amazing. I don't understand how, like, one wrong chip and there's no undo button.
yeah,
I know
yeah. But
that.
that's what I think about like digital work, digital artwork, and even
Yeah,
with digital, you can still create that value there. But I guess say if you were doing oil paints, there would be more value in a way.
maybe. Yeah, yeah. I used to, way back in the day. I've tried that, and I have some oils hanging on my walls here at home. But it's, I don't know. I really like digital.
Mm.
It's just it seems the medium for me. I don't know.
Well,
I tried
it's
all the mediums. I tried watercolor drawing. This is just The sketch. I was just showing, like,
Okay.
this is the original sketch that
Mm.
which, I mean, you can see it is very rough.
Yeah. And
It's
then
not.
you just slowly refine that one.
My system is slowing down or something. I don't know what's happening. Maybe my mouse is not working. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the goal. But this sketch took a long time to do too, and you can see that there was an earlier version of the sketch which was very different as well.
Like, because you've got all the mountains and the other one as well. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah, this one. I mean, she was completely dressed differently, and I reversed the whole background. This background was drawn. It's from my comic basically, but I just I went for just a normal mountain range in the end. I don't know if that was the right decision, but anyway, it's the relationship between the sketch and the final.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I like the other one or the other one, but the other one makes sense. The one on the left makes sense, I guess. Well, given the snow, I guess it's two different. It's almost two different sketches.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought, well, this is so ordinary. Like, I'm not good with dresses anyway. I'm not good with fashion and
clothing.
Dresses. Yeah,
I think
I don't like it. I like for them to look more like this. That's basically. I'm sorry, but that's.
Yeah.
But then, I thought, well, everybody looks good in a uniform, so
that's true.
Put a uniform.
Yeah, no, that's true, but yeah, I think it's definitely. I think you could definitely sell some prints. You've got enough big enough fan base that people would like that to get those really special ones from you.
Yeah,
I think
thanks.
so.
Well, I hope so. I'll try to upload some more prints to ArtStation.
Because I think you've been around for so long now. I think you like, how many people you have following you on like DeviantArt and all that?
Oh, I don't know.
You would have a fair few, wouldn't you?
Is there a place to see that? I know Facebook went to the 5,000 Oh, following is different. Okay, following is different.
And the thing is, I'm not sure if you post as much as you probably should be posting. Also, you probably don't post as much as you should.
Well, I try to post everything I do, like you see that one there, and of course there's some virus stuff I post right now because we have family in Sweden and we're worried about them. But anyway, it's the followers, the friend. Where do you see?
I think your followers up top. If you have a look at the top, you just scroll to the top.
Yeah.
They usually, there you go. You got 16,000. If you go down, no, you had them down. If you go down again, there's 5,000 friends, and if you scroll slightly down, just scroll a little bit down. Yeah, just scroll down. Yeah, down a little bit more. There you go. Where is it? 16,000 people. It's almost 17, and then I think. Look, you've got a big fan base. I'm saying it because it would be cool to see some of those real master works. Like, what's that lady on the swing? What's that one that you did? She's like on a swing.
Yeah.
That one looks like it's really refined. Like, show me your real refined pieces.
Well, there's another style I have which is outlines, and I did one here. It has outlines on it. It's good. We can use where we can look at the high one. I'm not sure if I mean, this one was time consuming because you have to do the drawing, right?
Yeah.
And you have to get the perspective right. I didn't use 3D for this one.
Yeah. See, that's a different style.
After that, this is a different style. So it's more like I would call it like, I don't know, cartoon.
So it's a little bit anime, a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
So you're saying that's more time consuming?
Yeah. This one takes longer because.
Really?
When I mean this one. I mean look at that brush stroke there. That's just
Yeah. Then those ones.
Yeah, every one of these lines, especially the important contours like the anatomical contours here. There's several strokes just in every part of it. and you have to do it slowly. You can't do it fast.
See, I would say the other ones would, you know how the rendered, like, you know, the one like almost the bathtub scene with the alien, and what's another one? You've got, if you look on your Facebook, I'm not sure if you have your Facebook open.
Yeah, it's over here. Okay, I can look in my photos maybe.
Do you have like a folder with all your like work? Or you don't?
There's some embarrassing photos. Well, I mean, ArtStation has a lot of work, I guess.
Yeah, like that one in the bathtub, like, and see if you go back for a second. Just go.
Okay, hold on. I'll just sign in there. You mean Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook. Which one was that? There's an image. See that one with the dragon? The one
this
up,
one, yeah.
up.
This is a really old one, yeah.
The dragon one, yeah, like, and the one on the swing, like I think really rendered well. If you just rendered those really well, that would sell incredibly well as paintings. I think they would. And the girl on the swing.
This swing, yeah.
Like that's really nice. I think that's your thing right there. That's your thing. Rendering like really beautiful things like that as prints, because you can imagine that on someone's wall. It's a really good, very good topic. Because the thing is, it's not like if you go on that fine line of balancing the nudity with the kind of you know, the reason for the nudity, as in that one.
I try to. Sometimes I slip, but
yeah. I think. Look,
well, but you know, it's a dichotomy. Sometimes you get more money, and sometimes you get more Patreons from.
Well, I think what you can do is you can do, because I like to do my work. I'll do a lot of stuff that isn't as refined, and then one that is really refined, and I think you mix it up. I think ultimately, because you create the fan base and the people that want to see more of it. But yeah, I think because I really enjoy your really well the painterly ones, and like where they almost look like they're kind of oil paintings. Because I remember you doing you did like a cloud tutorial. That was really cool.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's kind of that was actually kind of done at the same time. Around the same time as the swing there, because there was that big cloud in the background, and I thought maybe I can do a tutorial on this.
Yeah,
I like clouds. It's just something that I've always been staring at since I was a kid. You know, like look at that cloud.
I think you should do something else that is in that theme. It would be cool to see another one that you kind of come up with, something of I don't know, in the cloud. It kind of reminds you of a almost like an anime cartoon, but with this surreal, you have like a surreal spin on it. You can almost feel like there's like a world behind it, which is, I'm sure you don't think like that, but like when other people look at it, they might, because it's like that perception of when another artist looks at your work, they imagine a world around it, and then they kind of try and place it where would that be placed, and all these things.
Well, I do sometimes try to. I think, especially as concept artist, I worked as a concept artist for a while as well, and you have to always be logical. Like every single little bit of engineering or whatever, fashion or clothing or animals, evolution. Why is that there? Like. How is that there?
Well, I think not everyone thinks like that, though. I think you and I might, but a lot of people actually don't. With like the best concept artist, I think. I'm not saying that I'm the best concept artist, but I have a fairly big visual library, just because I'm old, Oh yeah, well you've been doing it for years.
I've seen a lot of shit, but anyway. It's but I've always been a little bit interested about like mechanics, like how does that cogwheel fit into that cogwheel? Why does that? How does a record player work? Like we don't even have record players anymore. But if I had to illustrate, I don't know, the 70s, like if I had to show a room from the 70s, I could probably do it because better than some younger kids because I can just, well, for one thing, I can just remember my own room. But anyway,
Yeah.
the point the point being that I wouldn't be happy until everything in the image is kind of logical, and logic extends to not just how cogwheels work, but to
Yeah.
like why is that person wearing their glasses? Are they reading glasses, or did they just stop reading something, or like, and
Yeah.
how are the glasses positioned? Because reading glasses are often at the tip of the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, just little
Little,
things like
yeah,
that.
it's like it's like I was saying in that YouTube, I did a YouTube video, and it's like the devil is in the details, and I think
Yeah, exactly.
you could open up a couple more of your paintings if you like, and just have a look at a couple more.
These that was just some references there. Looking for a painterly one, then I
Yeah,
guess.
what's one of your really painterly ones?
Well, I mean, not this one, but I did use Maya in this one, so it's kind of cool. You can see here, I use 3D.
All right.
Let me make them larger so I can just browse around here. So some references first. These are just references here. That's reference. That's a reference for the shoe.
Yeah.
Reference,
Yeah, you need.
reference.
I know what that's like. You need like the most, yes, just silly references at times. Just
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
another thing that I advise beginners in case somebody's interested in listening to this. You got to keep googling, and even if it was like you're still working on your project, it's 2 weeks later, you're still working. Google again, because
Yeah.
new images keep coming up.
Yeah, like you're never above reference, and that's. I mean, you never you could at times get away with it sometimes, but you're always better to use it, and you always will get a better result. So how come in this one you used 3D to do that one?
Well, because it was a.
I'm sure it would speed up the process, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because my sketch was like. I wanted this to be more realistic. You see that there's a little bit of perspective going on here because the camera is placed quite low.
Yeah.
And I wasn't happy with, I mean, this drawing isn't very good anyway. And so I knew I was going to have problems. Like, you can't find reference either like that. This camera is not placed on
that's
ground
true.
level. This one might almost be, but it's still not ground level.
No.
So I wanted this specific thing, and I improved my sketch, but it's still not, you can see it's still not there. We have this larger foot, which is too large. That's not actually how it turned out when I tried it in 3D.
Yeah.
So you can see the differences here. The 3D is the correct one, and this is just erroneous guessing on my part.
Yeah, it's still pretty close.
It's 50%
Yeah.
there, but I wanted it to get all the way there. So we have the final result. And actually, I found it a bit boring that she's covered in a hoodie and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right at the end, I just decided to see her face. So.
Well, yeah, it's always better to have it's like that contact with the viewer.
Yeah, and you can see. This is what 3D references really shines at, and that's architectural detail.
So you did, you modeled some of the architecture.
Yeah, it's responding quite slowly. I think I have too many things open, but anyway.
Yeah.
You see how this helps?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you don't, but I will show you the final result, and you can see how.
So you're putting a fair bit of work into all these drawings.
Yeah, I want to. I mean, I'm not doing them to make money. I'm doing them to make art, and then incidentally, I make a little bit of money off of them.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, I would just say you do probably undervalue your abilities. That's what like you could definitely get more people into, because as an artist you need support. You need to because it's not like you're you're cheapening out and you're using photos and you're doing all these things. You're doing the hard slog at doing that. You're doing it in the most almost traditional way, and I think it should be rewarded. And because I think what happens is that a lot of photo manipulation is being rewarded, and it's a lot easier to grab a photo than painting it by hand, and that's what I mean. Like it's that reward for it that I believe in. People should be rewarded for putting in work. That's just how I see it. So because
it's true. We can't be too angry with the people who do that, because the whole concept art industry, which is huge now and didn't even exist like 20 years ago or 15 or like concept art back in the early Star Wars age was you took an illustrator and you told him to make concepts, and he would take his time and he would make concepts. But today it's like the industry has exploded and the tools have exploded. Photo bashing is completely accepted as a tool. And it's actually more than accepted. It's necessary. If you're going to be a concept artist, you have to photo bash. You have to produce it quickly. You have to produce maybe 5 or 10 or whatever your boss says you have to do in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days.
I just think a lot of it,
and then they come back and say, okay, do this one bigger, and then you still have to do it quickly.
I just still think there's a market for like specialization, and I think that's what I was saying, like being rewarded for specializing, and like that's why you still have people who do oil paints and they still get rewarded in the same way that they were like getting rewarded for taking so long to do a painting. And I think what happens
definitely, I mean, definitely you and me, we should be paid more.
I think
totally. But I was just trying to caution people listening to not get angry with concept art.
No.
The photo bashers they serve a purpose.
I reckon it's like you skip over the minutia to get to the creativity of creating a concept, and it has its merits. And it's just I think it's when people start to I think you see a little bit of it like being milked, and that's with anything you get that kind of explosion of it, and then you get the pure kind of like there's a lot of people who I look up to who do it well, but then there's a lot of people who just rely on it too much. And I think
like with everything, you can do it well and you can do it badly, and there's always a little bit fewer people who do it really well, and there's a few more who do it.
I think it's used as a compliment to complement your work, and I think that's what some people don't do. It's like it's kind of like you use that 3D there to complement the 2D, and so it's not like working the other way around. So looking at it, you'd be like, well, you've used 3D in this, and it's kind of like, well, I can tell that you've used it too much, in that sense that you're not using it to assist you working, but you're using it as a crutch. And I think that's what happens. Like you don't, if you it's kind of like if you sat, it's like literally sitting down all day. I don't know if you've used the standing table before, but once you start, you can show me some more pieces while we talk.
I'll just show you. If I was photo bashing this piece, I would have used this one. But this is the photo that I just used this photo to kind of build a kind of not exact replica, but I used it to copy the architectural detail, because I'm no architect, and I'm certainly no classical Greco-Roman architect.
But if you slap that, if you photo manipulated that photo into your drawing, I think it would look a bit tacky. I think I mean it would be a concept, that would maybe not be necessarily meant for the public to see, but it would definitely be. I mean, but that's what people do.
Quicker. How fast. I could have done it instead of taking like 3 weeks. I could have done it in like 3 hours. So that's what. I
do wonder if we're just heading that way. I don't know. I wonder. Like, I often wonder if you're better off just photo manipulating all this stuff and not worrying about it. But I still think there is always there seems like there's always going to be a market for a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like there's always a market for that, and I think people, they're always going to want a Ferrari, and I think that's the way you got to think about if you want to do really good work. And like you always got to think, well, there's always a market for people who want genuinely high quality things and things like that are done to a certain high quality degree. Yeah.
Definitely. I know what you mean. Ferrari is like the ultimate peak of accomplishment.
Yeah. I actually like that 3D. That looks pretty cool, that 3D one.
Yeah, this is another Maya Arnold, or it could be Redshift. No, I think it was. I started in Redshift, but later I went to Arnold, and this would be Arnold. Somewhere I have a fully rendered 3D of this one.
Yeah, it would be great to see you do some sort of 3D again. Like
this is what it is.
Some 3D, some sort of 3D thing, because you really do you do a good job of doing 3D. 3D.
From time to time, from time to time, I like to sort of get back into it, but it's
exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, it's a pain in the ass to do 3D, isn't it? It's like exhausting.
Yeah. It is. It's a whole. I used to think of it like lawn mowing with nail clippers. You know. It's like,
I think it's a little bit better now. Yeah, I think it's a bit better now. I can imagine for you, because I'm like I was like, you probably, for you it would have been like trying to, like, you would have just been like smashing your head against the table at times, just trying to render things. It would have been so painful to render anything, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was the modeling that was painful back in the day.
Well, you're using essentially CAD modeling techniques, right? Wasn't it?
And even later when I got into Alias Power Animator, it was still like vertex by vertex. You had sometimes shift things. I can't remember where I had that final rendering of it, but it should be on Facebook too. But
what's in Maya stuff? What's that?
I thought I could. That's my main. That's my main Maya. Not much to see here because this is like my modern Maya stuff. I have the old Maya stuff is somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is the rendering that I did. Just no materials, because that takes a shitload of time as well.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised with the texturing stuff. I think because you got like Substance Painter, I think it is quicker now because you can do automatic UV unwraps and then you can use a lot of photos to texture. I think it's a lot faster now than I think what happens, right? You get a bit sour and you're like, I'm never going to do that again. And you're just kind of like, that was a pain in the ass. I'm not doing that again. But it does become easier by like 5 or 10% each year. And I think we're at that like peak point of where that 3D stuff, it's getting easier and easier and easier and easier. It is getting easier and easier. So it's true. Yeah. I'm just I do go back and do a little bit of that sometimes. And I'm trying to find that one example, but anyway, it's not really gonna. So this is your older Maya stuff, and
this is a mixed bag. Yeah, this is a mixed bag. This was another forum that I was posting stuff in for a while, and maybe still go back to post more later. But this I grabbed stuff from all over the place and put it in here. It's old 3D, new 3D, and old 2D and new 2D. It's
I remember that the girl one on the phone, and
oh yeah,
I remember that. Was that all? That was all, and the one on the chair and things like that.
Yeah, this is a really old one.
Yeah.
Some vampire stuff. I've been doing covers for World of Darkness and
you can open them as bigger images?
Which one?
Just just open.
this one?
Yeah, just open. Have a scroll through it.
Explore.
Because
Yeah.
I know you got a lot of iterations here. Iterations. I always like seeing iterations because it's
Yeah.
always to see the process of something is always interesting.
I've got some photos of myself up there. That's not.
We've all got photos of ourselves.
I mean, not too bad. Not too bad for a 60-year-old guy.
No, you look good. You got to keep in shape. I mean, keeping in
Yeah.
shape, you actually feel better. So it's like
it helps everything, and
Mm.
of course, I have an unfair advantage in that I have diabetes and I have to keep working. Otherwise, I'm
Oh,
croak. So
you got diabetes.
yeah, so I better bloody well keep fit, or else, I've got a gun to my head. So
Do you
Most
think
people
that
don't.
was from? Is that? I think they say it's a lot of diet, isn't it? Is it maybe diet and
Yeah.
sedentary lifestyle? Could
yeah, it's also maybe a little bit genetic. See,
Mm.
here's an old one. There's
That looks pretty
an
cool.
older one from
be. Open it
from
as a full screen. Can you open it full screen?
early 2000s. Yeah, here she has a jacket on. That's one.
No, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have that hinge thing here. That's
No.
I think is really necessary. You have to have something here to explain how it's gonna.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been trying to figure
Yeah.
that out for you, like, because you've made that, and I was like, how the hell does this work? And so I had to I built like a subframe because you're around motorbikes, and so I've been kind of studying motorbikes on and off, and whenever I see a motorbike on the street, I try and make a mental image of it. That's how I try and do. I try and make mental images of things and
Yeah,
store
I
it.
love motorbike.
Yeah, they
I
are
used to
pretty
have-
cool.
I used to have one. There's the one that I had to leave behind.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
huge. It's a huge thing.
I customized it the hell out
Yeah.
of that thing. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. Like I said, we all need a hobby. There was a time when I wasn't doing too much art, so I put my creativity into my motorbike and stuff.
Yeah, you end up doing that. No, that's all pretty cool. What's that 3D one? Yeah, like a 3D.
Yeah.
Like that painter, that you have the one, the before and after for the painted one. What was that one? If you go down. Yeah, that's interesting. Like you got the line drawing. Which one? No, for the one with the girl on the swing. I think your thing's like...
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first sketch. That's
Yeah.
the colored second stage. I had a little fairy on a bumblebee for a while, but that
Yeah, it kind of ruins the composition. Can you click on
Yeah.
the fairy queen? Click on that one.
the last one
Yeah.
or
Oh, the middle one.
the middle one.
Yeah.
Okay, we had that one. We looked at that one earlier, but
I just want to see if it's how is that like a bigger resolution? Like I'm just curious to how big you paint these things.
This was 2003, so
Mm.
no, not big at all.
Yeah.
Back then we thought that like 600 by 400 was a big resolution.
yeah. I mean, that would have been what is it? Slowed down Photoshop. Yep. I think I
Yeah.
might have lost
Exactly,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, back then it would have slowed down your Photoshop and done all those things. But yeah, that's it's all interesting seeing people's work and just the in between, because it's like the thought processes that have to go through it. It's all, and like I always think art is messy. You know what I mean? Like making art is really messy, and it's like cumbersome and it's weird. And like you can just see you've got all these in between pictures of all this random crap, and that's how art is, right? And it's like you bring that to a to the forefront of a clean image, and one image that makes coherent sense and all that, and so you're just like doing that and bringing it all together and choreographing these things, and yeah, it is weird like that.
So some people start by it almost looks like paint by numbers. They start in the upper left corner, and then they just go like they're making a carpet, like stitch, 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 stitch.
You don't work like that.
Most people, yeah. I mean, some people can do that, but that does not work for most people, I don't think. And
Yeah.
what some beginners do wrong sometimes is that they try to do that, or some variety of that, and what a beginner usually has to learn the painful hard way is you gotta, especially in ZBrush, you gotta start with the big brush, you gotta start with the big stroke, and then slowly go to the smaller strokes gradually, not instantly jump to a tiny brush,
Yeah.
and that's something that I also had to learn how to do. But,
Yeah, you have to refine, and yeah, some people. I'm not sure how people. I think either their brains are working different, where they have that. They're close to like I don't know, like a photographic memory, and they're just like a printer, and they're like just essentially printing out whatever they see in their head, which is an interesting way of working. And I guess you would know if you have that because you would be doing it. But I think it also creates a kind of a sterile, just boring thing also, that it's nothing too imaginative, and they're just like able to print a real life image and that's it, which I guess there's a need for it. And like you have that slight, how people can do photorealistic paintings, and they just, as you said, they start in the corner and they just work their way out, or they start with the eye and they work their way out, which is a very weird, interesting way of working.
Yeah, that's strange. I could never do that.
But yeah, I think we've shown everything, and we could wrap it up if you like. It's been about, how long has it been? It's been an hour and a half. So I think that'll be long enough for everyone to check everything out, and lots of nudie images. So I don't know. Don't know how it's going to go on YouTube. I don't care. I just wanted to have a chat with you and check out everything, and I've always looked up to your work and things like that, and I just wanted to see all the behind the scenes, and because it's always interesting to see that and to chat to the people that you've been following for years and years and years. So it's been
it was great chatting with you too. I've been wondering what you sound like.
I have a slight accent from my parents, and I got an Aussie accent mixed in, so I'm probably
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's not. No, mine is worse.
It's what it is. What it is, right? It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah, you can make it worse.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Okay. You take care. It's been awesome chatting, and I'll keep you posted with that bike. I'll try and get some pictures to you today or tomorrow. I'll update you on that and see what you think about that. All right. I'll talk to you soon then. I'll say that instead. All right. I'll catch you later. All right. See ya.